Well, there'll be plenty of close-ups to come, Alex, and it was time for Messrs Marshall, Harrison and Jackson to shoot it out for the playoff. Time for their close-ups. 3 players, but only 1 spot available. Nearest the pin wins it. First to shoot, Elsham Golf Club's very own Ian Marshall, who proved to be the king of spin. Dragging it back from near oblivion for a superb opener. Beat that. John Harrison from Henley's Golf Club was up next with the pressure really on now. Could the 4 handicapper find his best? It was good, but it skipped on and left the Trilby Tour dance floor along with John. Only one man could beat Ian Marshall to the playoff now. Gary Action Jackson was good to go, and both he and the crowd were convinced that this shot would make him the man. But Gary got too much action, and the spin meant he missed out by just inches. So we said goodbye to Gary and John, but for Ian the realisation began to dawn that he was in the playoff for the Yorkshire and North East Championship, and he had just minutes to get his head round the fact that he would be taking on Alex Swan, Reese Hatton and Sean Marshall, no relation incidentally, for this last regional title of the season. The playoff coming up after the break. Welcome back to the KP Club. Don't let the clouds fool you. The weather was improving for the playoff of the Championship of Yorkshire and the North East, the last regional title up for grabs this season. Here come the boys, 4 players, 3 holes, but as always on the Trilby Tour, only 1 winner. It's playoff time.
First on the tee, Alex Wan.
The first man up was leader after 18 holes, Alex Wan from Norwood Park Golf Club in Southall, Nottingham. He choked at last year's event, but really turned it around this year, and with shots to play with, starts as possible favourite in the playoff. A great drive from Alex got him on his way.
On the tee, Reese Hatton.
The tension up on the first tee was incredible in front of one of the biggest galleries of the season. Ulverston Golf Club's Reese Hatton, though, put all of that out of his mind to hit a dream shot into position A.
Third on the tee, Sean Marshall.
Sean Marshall came into this playoff final with a reputation as the slugger. The car-hole man, playing off scratch, was in frequent contact with air traffic control prior to his tee shots on the day. Cleared for takeoff, he let fly.
Great ball.
The rough, though, slowing his progress.
And fourth on the tee, Ian Marshall.
Last up, the shootout governor, Ian Marshall, no relation to Sean, from armchair viewer to playoff finalist. Let's hear from the man himself.
Watching it on Sky TV last year, so sat there watching it, and my missus turned around and says, "Would you like playing that?" And I went, "Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind having a go." So this is obviously, so I've entered it this year.
Well, you've done extremely well. We look forward to seeing you at the Buckinghamshire, and who knows what may happen today yet.
Who knows, and thank you very much.
So Ian, an amateur player of some standing, was next to feel the heat. But his drive was offline, and he tugged it into the thick rough. It was found, but the second shot was never going to be easy. The playoff was underway. Ian Marshall, though, feeling rough. Reese Hatton on the green grass of the fairway. Alex Swan, ice cool and in great shape. And Sean Marshall, a free drop to freedom. With no control possible from the wispy stuff, Ian had to be spot on with his club selection. It was a tremendous effort, but he caught the downslope on the fringe of the green and scuttled through. Sean was happy to watch and wait. Reese Hatton next, conscious of what happened to Ian Marshall's ball, the under club, and left it short. After you, mate. Alex Swan, given the go-ahead, produced another belter and gave himself a chance for birdie net eagle. Finally, it was Sean Marshall to go. Just think where he would have ended up if the rough hadn't grabbed his ball. A great strike from the scratch player, though, produced the best approach of the 4 playoff contenders and gave Sean a chance to potentially set the pace. And talking of pace, the gallery, one of the biggest of the season, were off and running. The scene was certainly set for a big tournament finish. Could the players deliver? Going with the putter, Rees got his line wrong and the ball just wouldn't come back for him. Ian played it cool and just clipped his ball back into some sort of contention. But as always, it was going to come down to the putts for prizes. Rees was so close to saving par that it was cruel, in fact, but them's the breaks. It's just a shame that break did for Rees. One hole played, one over and fourth place, but this is a Trilby Tour playoff and anything could happen, so keep your hat on, Hatton. Alex Wan had the biggest chance to forge a massive lead at the first playoff hole and it was so close, but all he forged was a rod for his own back with a putt that flew by. But how's this for cool? He smashed the return putt in, no messing, for 1 under, and at the very least, a share of the lead. The 15 handicapper was making it look easy. Off scratch means everything has to drop. This for a share of the lead. It was another close shave though, this time for Sean Marshall, but he tapped in for par and marched to the second hole in second place. Now there's nothing settles the nerves like a good save, and for Ian Marshall, hole 1 was an odyssey of dramatic proportions that ended in bone-shaking triumph. A rock and roll par for Ian put him level with the other Marshall in second place. And the gallery headed for the second hole, expecting more fireworks as yet another Trilby Tour playoff delivered the golfing goods. At hole 2, leader Alex Wan looked completely relaxed. His tee shot was in play, as was Ian Marshall's, who hit a cracking second into this upturned saucer of a green, only to find out why this hole quite rightly rates as one of the toughest here at the KP Club. Ian Marshall in a bit of bother once again. For Sean Marshall, his skill from the tee gave him chances once again, and one of the sweetest swings of the season was combined with one of the cheekiest examples of course management we've seen, almost good enough to rival Mike Roberts' approach to 18 at Bearwood Lakes earlier in the year. Top marks for Sean, and you can put your tongue back in now, young man. Rees Hatton was languishing in fourth and faced with a very tricky approach angle, combined with what he later described as a dirty lie. He was also honest enough to describe that shot as a good bad one. After which, there really is only one thing to say.
That's it, that.
Exactly. After playing to the camera, Alex Wan was abruptly reminded that a Trilby Tour playoff has teeth. Big ones. He knocked his second into the trees and his third into no man's land. His fourth did nothing to ease the pain, and Alex was in classic high handicap trouble. Ian Marshall needed something special, and his terrific powers of recovery were once again on show. Putting time again. Sean Marshall left for birdie. Ian Marshall centre for par. Alex Wan with a shot also for par. But as the Rolling Stones once said, you can't always get what you want, and sticking with that particular song, but if you try sometimes, you just might get what you need. Cue Rees Hatton. And in it went. Rees back on track with a magnificent birdie and back in business on his way to the final playoff tee as joint leader with Alex and Sean.